It's called the irresponsibility factor. Now, many people strive for identity, recognition, and success in this world. They just strive for it. They even push their limits because they have goals, they have purpose, they have talents. And in following their dream, they set priorities, they take responsibility for their dream, and they maintain a steadfast effort in accomplishing it. They work at it every day. And those who succeed bend time and space because they develop and maintain an attitude of responsibility. See, we can bend time and space to work against us through irresponsibility, or we can bend it to work for us when we're irresponsible. We take responsibility. And because they take responsibility for their success and their failures, the world sees them as having the X factor. The extraordinary factor is part of their life. But it's part of everybody's life. Just we've thrown it away. We prefer the irresponsibility factor. You know, the majority of the world never accomplishes their dreams because they worship the irresponsibility factor. And they also worship the U factor. Well, the blessings of God cannot come upon them because the attitude of irresponsibility that they hold so dearly leaves no room for the blessing to land or stay upon them. Their world is seen through the eyes of blaming, excuses, and condemning. None of those produce positive results. It's like buying a new car and ramming it into a wall and saying, how did these dents come to pass? This car must have been defective. It's all dented. But they were acted irresponsible in an irresponsible way with their vehicle. It wasn't the car's fault. And when you have this blaming and excuses and condemning factor running, it constantly encourages irresponsibility to grow. Therefore, if the world is irresponsible, they have a right to be irresponsible because the majority is always right. Irresponsibility creates a majority that claims itself to be right. Responsibility doesn't. It goes and succeeds. It doesn't look for the excuses. What brings the I factor or irresponsible factor forward as an active attitude? What do you think brings it forward? Well, being condemned as a bad person during childhood and teen years is one of the most effective ways of bringing forward irresponsibility. Because you've already been labeled and you have no defenses against it. So you join the majority at that point. Can anybody name a time in which you never have made a mistake?
Before I was born.
Prove it.
Well, we come from the Father.
Yes, but then you were conceived.
Yeah, okay.
And the
Well,
world says that was a mistake.
I meant before I was conceived.
Oh. The second item is parents who shout, scream, dispute, bribe, nag, threaten, throw temper tantrums, and curse their children, and curse one another. Use that on one another. You see these women get upset and they gotta throw dishes around. That's a temper tantrum. That's irresponsibility in action. You realize that? Or this guy that when he got upset with his wife, he would urinate on the living room floor. That's a temper tantrum. And it's acting extremely irresponsible. And you'd be surprised how common that is. Really, you'd be surprised at how common that is. The third is discipline is rejection instead of correction. Rejection plays a major point in the so-called correction in the school systems and in the homes nowadays. Go to your room, I don't want to see you for the rest of the night. That's being rejected. That's not being corrected. That is a rejection. You're not worthy to be in my company. You're not worthy to hear what you did wrong and it be explained so that you can correct your behavior for next time. Okay. Well, this creates that strong foundation for the irresponsibility factor to take hold. Fourth is things are valued more than a person. I know people that they buy a new couch and they keep the plastic on that it came in and they cover it up with layers of blankets and then brag they bought a new couch. Well, what good is it if nobody can see it? And nobody wants to sit on it because it'll creak with the plastic underneath, you know? You don't want to sit on that. But it becomes a thing that is more valued than friendship or family or anything. It's only a couch. You know, if it wears out in 5 years, buy a new one. Wears out in 10 years, buy two. The fifth is success is acknowledged only when perfection is achieved and maintained. So if you're not perfect and have done everything perfect and maintain the so-called perfection so that you're accepted by a certain party, then guess what? You're worthless and you're irresponsible. And that label stays. It has to be broken off. Okay? There are lies that bring acknowledgement. And when lies bring acknowledgement, it reinforces the irresponsibility factors. Many people don't get accepted in any way unless they lie. If they're lying, oh, everybody loves them. If they tell the truth on something, that's too much. Number 7 is pouting and depression where you're pouting for attention and have these depressive fits for attention. It's not to get love, it's to get that attention. And therefore, when you use these things, it becomes an irresponsibility factor. 8 is the use of platitudes instead of love or words of encouragement or words of blessing. What makes you feel better as a person? Somebody giving you a platitude? Or somebody telling you that they appreciate you and love you? You know, a platitude is like you're hungry and then somebody gives you a rock. Okay, turn it into bread. That's what a platitude is. It says that you're irresponsibility, and the person that gives you that type of gift is irresponsible. So they're spreading a disease. Okay? And that's why Jesus, when he was told by Satan, well, turn this into bread. You're hungry, turn it into bread. What did you say? I'm not picking up the disease of irresponsibility. You realize that, right? That's what he was telling. I'm not going to be irresponsible with the authority that I have been given, with the commission I've been given, with the talents I've been given. With my relationship with my Father, I'm not going to be irresponsible. Once this attitude is formed, the I factor creates a loss for everybody. Irresponsibility factor, once you've established these foundations, these 8 points of foundation, everyone associated with it loses. The I factor establishes its own personality or group of multiple personalities and disorders to keep you in check. Each personality and or disorder brings about major decreases in productivity and usefulness. So if you can't function to do anything and you feel useless, you keep activating irresponsibility over your life. One step by step by step, you keep adding that to your life. And again, that shows up as as an addition to the U factor. The U factor can be based on labels from self or others. It establishes a false identity that is self-excusing, and it repeats its dreams but makes no move to accomplish a dream. So it's always saying, I'm looking forward to this, or I want this to happen, I want that, these are my dreams. But never makes a step towards carrying that out. And what it does is it, shall we say, imparts like a weather seal on your imagination. You're stuck with what you had a dream of in your past, but you can't dream a new dream. Now, this is important that you understand this aspect of the dream. Your life is a building of memories, good memories, bad memories, but it's a building of memories. and lessons that you learned in those memories. When you have this you factor take over, your dreams become how much more useless you can become. Not how to get out of it, not how to achieve anything, but how to become more and more useless. Well, I'm too old, or I'm this, or I can't see me doing anything now. Here I am 30 years old and the world's over, you know? Well, that is where the dream, that you factor, locks the dream to the past, but doesn't allow a change to the future. And without a future, you have no vision. And what does God say when you have no vision?
Perish.
You perish. You can only look forward to dying, not living. And that's what the world has been trained in today. And they've been trained from the time that they're very young to accept that their destiny is only to die, not to live. Only to be useless, a slave into a system of irresponsibility. When we look at the U factor, or useless, unacceptable factor, it has these main qualities about it. One, it starts off, I cannot because of what they did. I can't achieve this. I can't read my Bible. Why, what if somebody down the street hits a can and disturbs me? You know, they did it last year. That's the kind of useless excuses that are formatted that set the foundation for this factor to be an attitude in one's life. Number two is, I can't because of what they said about me. Somebody said I was lazy. I can't go out in public and be seen as lazy. So I can't do anything. Number three, I can't because my A to Z list is not ready and not working for me yet. Well, some people make A to Z lists of things they gotta do. And it stays there. Nothing gets put into practice. What you don't put into practice can't bring a harvest. What you don't give, you can't receive from. Okay? If you don't cause something to happen, there can't be any effect. So by doing nothing, you stay in uselessness. The U factor. Number four, I can't because someone might see me. You know, we were doing a fundraising project of cleaning a 2-mile strip on what has now become the Anthony Hendy for the foundation. And so many people said, oh, I'll do anything to help the foundation now. So we said, yes, we need some helpers to do. Oh, I can't do that. Somebody might see me doing that. What? Big deal. So you're cleaning up alongside the road. And that's when there's a fear. What if somebody sees me? You know, and this will even advance further. It's like, well, I can't give any of those children a hug because what if somebody sees me? They might think I'm a pedophile. So what? They think evil of everybody. But the children need a hug. I think we probably have some of the happiest children of all the congregations around. I really do. They love to come here. And if you ask them why, what do they say? Because there's people who hug me and I feel loved. I feel encouraged. And I just found out that because of that encouragement and the love that Daniel's receiving, he wants to read his Bible every day. He borrows his mom's Bible and reads it out loud. Why? Because of the support and the encouragement that broke uselessness. Okay? Number 5. I can't because someone might say something to me while I'm trying to do it. While I'm trying to do this thing, someone might say something. So what? Maybe they have a good suggestion. You know, maybe they have a good suggestion. I remember at the mustard seed, this guy was constantly volunteering to come in and help and doing things. And his car broke down. And he was having to take the bus in. And a certain party that was also volunteering every once in a while noticed it. That he was having troubles getting around. So talked to him, found that his car broken down. Gave him $10,000 to go buy a new car. Now, if he would say, somebody might say something to me and not receive it, God obviously blessed him for doing what? But to being useful, to being a help to others. Not thinking of himself, but being a help to others. That's sort of what's wrong with this thing about the lottery, is that it makes you think, well, I will be rich. You know, I hit it lucky and I'm going to be rich. Well, that's why God can't bless these things. Another person I know bought over $100 worth of tickets here recently, and said he prayed over them that God would bless them, and that the majority of them would all be winners. One of the 100 tickets, he won one free ticket. But it cost him $200 to win a free ticket. That just doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, but that buying lotto tickets is an expression of uselessness, because you're trying to buy an identity if you win. Okay? If luck gives me an identity, I can win. Doesn't work. Number 6 is, I can't do that because this person might reveal my secret. Yeah. We tried to get some guest speakers to come to the radio. And no, they wouldn't, because somebody might find out that they had been on our radio site. If we could guarantee it would be a secret that they might come. Number 7, I can't because someone once caught me in my secret sin, so I can't do anything now for the rest of my life. Does it not say, confess your sin and be free of it? Well, that's uselessness talking. I can't because I might fail. Well, that's irresponsibility and uselessness talking. Number 9. I can't because it's too much work and too much thinking's involved in this thing. What do you mean? You were just asked to do dishes for the after services, to make sure everything got cleaned up after everybody left. Oh no, can't do that. That's too much work and too much thinking's involved. Really? Gathering up to make sure the sanctuary is clear of dishes is too much thinking? Too much work? After everyone's left? But the U factor will seek to produce a lot of useless reasonings, useless excuses, and useless self-cursing. See, every time you say, I can't, you're cursing your usefulness to God, to your future, to your family, you're cursing your usefulness and saying, I choose to be useless. Jesus said you can do all things through my Spirit. If I tell you to do something, I'll give you the wherewithal, the grace to do it. So start thanking Him for that, not for finding excuses. The U factor is the greatest source of putting on a welded label. It's one of the chief labels that people like to put on. Uselessness. They weld it on to their foreheads. Everybody looks at them and says, useless, useless, useless. And if somebody's not doing something, what's the first thing to say? If they leave something half done, or what a useless person. Right? Easiest one, and you come in agreement with it. So it gets welded on. Everyone who steps into the habit of using the U factor in order to avoid responsibility, well, they will always conjure up the demons necessary to support what they want to be useless in. They'll call in those demons to make sure they're attacked by them. Now, some of the demons that are most common with the U factor is number 1, fear. This becomes a principality in a person's life when you have the U factor. Fear becomes the God above all gods. Number 2, meanness. And often they'll deny that they're being mean, but their whole life revolves around meanness. That can be in verbal abuse of anyone who confronts the roles that they use. And sometimes you see physical meanness take hold too, even among believers. I'd like to smack that person into tomorrow.
It's gonna be time travel.
Well, the trouble is that we're to owe no man anything but to love one another. The U factor is a discarding of love. The I factor is a discarding of love. Number 3, habitualisms. All aspects of their life has to be controlled by routinism, by traditionalisms, by self-justification, and by encasement. Why? Because instead of developing their identity in Jesus and opening their heart to who they are in Jesus, they have to rely on habits, often bad habits, to give them their identity. They develop routines. Well, I don't get up until 10 o'clock in the morning, even if I'm awake at 4. Or traditions. Well, my family's always kept Christmas, and even though we know it's evil in its roots, we believe that God will understand we like Christmas. He does. But that doesn't mean he's going to justify it. Self-justifications. And then comes encasement. A person builds their own coffin to lay in by their words under the U factor. If you look at a person that you consider useless, you consider them dead from their toes up. Right? They've been encased. As soon as you look at somebody and you look at them because of the useless factor, you're seeing the encasement on them as dead from the toes up. Yeah. And if you read Proverbs, you'll see that Solomon found a lot to say about that kind of, about the U factor. The next one is number 4, avoidance. New things or new knowledge is too scary because the definitions of the encasement box must be expanded, and that's too scary of an item to do. If you're forced to focus on something new, we can see when we were doing Job, trying to teach the things out of Job. Oh, this is too much. You got to talk about something besides Job. We talked about the things that most of the churches and religions in today's society won't talk about that are already in the Bible. Giants, aliens, all this stuff. Oh, that's too scary. Don't tell me about those things. We tried talking about the New World Order. I don't want to hear that because I don't know what to do about it. I told you what to do about it. Get close to Jesus. Read your Bible out loud so that you have a peace in your heart. These things are going to come to pass. Hiding your head where the sun don't shine doesn't make it go away. You know, there were those that fell asleep and had to go through the full tribulation unprotected. And most of them lost their head because of this very factor, avoidance. They wanted to avoid growing up into being sons of God. Number 5, sympathy seeking. Look at me and all the troubles I've had and seen in my life. You can't expect me to move past my past and do something, can you? I've been addicted to this for years. You expect me to quit? I've been worshiping laziness for years. You expect me to do something? That's sympathy seeking. I'll cry if you ask me. to do something or be responsible. Sympathy seeking is a strange killer. Number 6 is perfectionism. You can't expect me to move until everything is perfect, or else God will hate me. Where does it say He hates you in the Bible? He hates the things you made the wrong choices on that are hurting you. But He always says, I love you. I want to bring you out of that trap you're in. I want to get you out of that coffin you built for yourself. I want you to have freedom. I said, no, I can't do that. Unless everything is perfect, I can't take a step. Well, my question to them was, if you were laying on the bed and there was a towel on the floor between you and the bathroom and you had to go to the bathroom, unless everything's perfect, you can't take a step out of bed. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Just wait until it gets perfect, I guess.
Yeah, use the towel to clean up your mess.
Yeah.
Becoming less perfect all the time.
Number 7 is refusal. I refuse to be moved out of my comfort zone. God would not do this to me if He loved me. He wouldn't cause me to move out of my comfort zone. I mean, what if I had to learn something or grow or get to deal with people?
Change.
Make changes in your life, you know. Overcome an addiction, overcome this or overcome that. Well, that is one of the sources that allows refusal to keep attacking and attacking and attacking, is because there's this useless factor, this you factor, strong in a person's life. Number 8, deception. Everything spoken from or by deception must be true because it matches what my mother said, or my friend said, or what my dog says to me. I've heard that. You know, we can't argue because the spirit of deception is matching the same thing my dog's saying to me. I go, no. It means it's a lie. Well, you know, that mule that somebody had spoke to one of the prophets, and he was speaking the word of God to him. So my dog has to be speaking the word of God to me every time he speaks.
Did you tell them to get new meds?
No. But we told him a bunch of other things. In summary, no person can be trusted with wealth, power, life, or authority when they cling on to the irresponsibility factor or the you factors. Because these factors have become gods in their life, above the real God. They cannot accept their identity in Jesus or the identity of Jesus in their life or into their heart. And until you can receive who you are in Jesus into your heart, you can be bound to repeating the same mistakes and calling the you factors and the I factor back into there. And most of all, they cannot accept being accepted anything else but being except lusted after. They don't want to be loved, because that means they'd have to love somebody back. So it's okay to lust after another person, but you don't love them, just in case you have to love them back. So this ends part 36 on becoming a true believer and an active son of God.